Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Coals of Fire. It's your girl, Cheyenne.
And Jared.
And we are the Coals, where we go on this channel and we talk about everything from lifestyle to, the Bible and different perspectives on the Bible. And we share a whole bunch of different things when it comes to regards to being a Christian couple in today's society. So this week, right now, we felt like it was a very relevant topic to be talking about frugality. With everything that's going on in America and the high prices and the inflation, what better time to talk about frugality tips, guys? We've started a series on this. If you haven't already watched the first video, go ahead and check that out. The first video was on renting versus owning. We broke down tips that we did when we purchased a home. And this week, we are starting off with also talking about utilities. And so if that's something of interest to you, stay tuned because we do have some really great tips that we want to share. All right.
So starting off with our list, we got our information from our electrical company, and we also got some of our information from the EPA or the Environmental Protection Agency. So the first set of tips is going to be for electricity. So number one, you want to get the recommended R value in the ceiling area, which is R38. And the R value is a measurement of resistance to heat flow through a given thickness of material. So for example, insulation. The higher the R value, the greater the resistance. The recommended R value in the floor is R19. So you would put insulation on the ceiling, above the ceiling, and then insulation below the floor, like maybe in the basement or whatever, in order to keep your house cool so that way your thermostat or your AC is not working so hard to be able to cool your house because the insulation is keeping that maintained, the temperature and everything.
And what you're basically saying is if a person's a person's insulation that they have in their ceiling or in the floors is not at that recommended amount, which is the R38 for the ceiling and the R19 for the floors. If they want to, that's something that they can look into getting fixed to trying to help with their insulation, get someone to come out and do that.
Right? Or you could just do it yourself, because my dad, he did it himself before and I helped him a little bit at his house. So you can pay for someone to do it, you can do it yourself, or just not do it at all. It's an option. It will help. It will definitely help to maintain your energy savings. So the second tip on this list is open the blinds in the winter to allow the sun to heat your house. In the summer, use blinds or drapes to help keep your home cool.
Something that I also found out, guys, is there are these things called blackout drapes or blackout curtains. And people use them, like he was saying, to keep the cool air in their house and also keep the hot air in their house, either or. But, if that's something that you want to use or look out for to kind of conserve your energy, you might want to go for it. Another thing is to also check the ceiling, like not ceiling like ceiling, but like the seals around your window pane. Maybe that area might be a little bit more open. And so you can actually conserve energy that way as well, by making sure that your windows are sealed pretty tightly.
Now, the next tip on our list is in the summer, restrict the use of heating appliances, cooking, drying, dishwashing to the early morning or evening hours.
And just to give you guys a little bit more information on why you would rather probably want to restrict is because generally using appliances, and I'm getting this off of Google, generally using appliances in the early morning or late evening is usually cheaper because these times are typically considered off-peak hours when electricity demand is lower, resulting in lower cost compared to peak hours like mid-afternoon or early evening. You just want to make sure you want to check your specific electricity plan to see when your off-peak hours are, as they can vary depending on your location and your provider. Keep in mind, we got this from our electrical company, so I guess they're going along with that general recommendation, and those would be the off-peak hours is early morning and evening. So really try to think about that. I guess it would probably be helpful for you to look into your electrical company and see what those off-peak hours are.
Yeah. So the next tip on our list is only run the dishwasher or washing machine when you have a full load. So basically just make sure that when you're using your dishwasher or washing machine that you fill it up to capacity as much as you can while making sure that everything will be clean. So that way you're not using too much water for multiple loads of stuff when you could just use one load. You know, if you run the dishwasher, that washing machine doesn't control, you can't control how much water is being used. So it's best to use the whole space that you can.
And, you know, if you're anything like me, you might not want to use your washing machine at the max load full capacity, only because maybe, you know, you are afraid that your clothes won't get as clean or something like that. I know that that could be an issue, but guys, you know, you can tell when maybe a load is pretty small, right? And maybe you can wait till next week. I know I do divide my laundry up into colors, where I do dark, light, red, and white. And so if you're not someone who puts everything into one bunch, that might be something you want to consider. If you have white clothes, maybe you might want to wait. And if you only have like a small amount of them, maybe wait 2 weeks in a row so you can get those white clothes, you know, accumulated enough to where you would want to go ahead and put them in the washing machine.
Right. And then the next tip is to use cold water instead of hot water whenever possible. And that's important because when you do use hot water, your water heater is using electricity, energy to do its job. So just keep that in mind, and when possible, just try to use cold water.
And I've been using cold water, and my clothes are being cleaned just fine.
Now, the next tip is to install a programmable thermostat, which can save you as much as 10% of energy costs every year. So just think about that. That's something that we need to do ourselves, I think.
What does it do? What is a programmable thermostat?
It's like a thermostat that you can set when it comes on. If you're leaving the house, you can turn it off from your phone. You can set a time when the heat changes or it cools, stuff like that. So it'll help. So like, say like if we're outside, out and about,
Out of town.
maybe we might want to turn the AC off or whatever. And then once we're on the way home, we can turn it back on or just adjust it, you know? So it'll save a lot of money, because at least you're able to, for periods of time, you could turn the thermostat off instead of keeping it on, because we don't want to just go into a house and it's like muggy and hot or freezing cold.
And you don't have to think about it.
Yeah.
That sometimes you forget to do stuff like that. So
Right. Now, it recommends to set in the summer your thermostat at 78 degrees.
I don't know about all of that.
And the winter, set it at 68 degrees.
And I don't know about all that. This might be a hard one for me, guys. I get really, you know, I don't know. 68 is really low and 78 is really high in the summer, but you know what? It's there. So
The reason why is because every increase of every degree above 68, there's an increase of 3% of energy consumption. So that's the same thing with in the summer at 78. If you have anything lower than 78, it's 3% consumption on energy, basically. So just keep that in mind. I know it's hard. Personally, I don't mind 68 degrees in the winter.
we might try it. We might try it.
You just bundle up. Summer is kind of hot. I get hot easily, personally.
Yeah, I think he would be the
So,
one that
I
would
would
struggle
be-
more with that one.
Yeah.
I would struggle more with the winter one because I'm always cold. And he would struggle more with the summer one because, you know, he gets hotter easier. So,
Right.
yeah.
And then the next tip is to not block any indoor air supply and return vents with furniture or other objects. So, you know, the little vents where the air comes out from the AC, from the air conditioning unit. So just make sure you don't block that stuff. Make sure they're free and there's nothing covering it.
Which makes sense because you're blocking your house from getting as much heat or air that it could, which might cause you to want to turn up or turn down the heat. But maybe you're just blocking off some of it because it's being covered up by furniture.
All right. And then the next tip is to not overheat water. Don't overheat water. Set the thermostat on your water heater to 120 degrees.
We have to check that, guys. We don't know what ours is set at, but
it's probably set up higher than these.
Yeah.
And then the next tip is to use energy efficient LED bulbs. It's just bulbs that will help you
conserve energy longer
because of the way that they're constructed.
Yeah, and if you don't have LED bulbs, guys, maybe you should go shop for some LED bulbs. And if you still have bulbs that you're finishing up, finish those ones out and go to the store next time when it's time for you to buy those LED, buy lights for your lights fixtures, your lamps, your ceiling fans, all that good stuff, and make sure that it's LED.
Yes. And then the last tip is to unplug electronic devices and chargers when not in use. Because there's certain devices, even though you're not using it, they're using some form of electricity, like some amount of electricity. Because there's certain devices, like for example, we have a fan at our house. Even though it's not on, there's like a light indicator on the fan. So if it's plugged in, it's that light indicator is showing that it's plugged in and it has power going to it. But that light indicator takes electricity. So certain things like that, like a fan or a charger, because chargers do the same thing to show, oh, well, this charger has power. So when you plug it up, you're able to charge your phone or whatever the other device that you're using it for. So just keep that in mind, that it's best to unplug any devices that you're not at the time using.
And I will be honest with you, guys, I never even thought of this. Until we actually started looking more into frugality, but it's something that we do want to incorporate more into our lifestyles. So the hope is that when it comes time, before we go to bed, we will go and do a quick glance around our house, pull out everything that is, plugged in that is necessary. And then, the next morning when we need to use it, or if we need to use it, we could plug it right back in. And I think, like you said, that'll just save us electricity. And I'm actually curious to see how much we do save from doing that. But I mean, they're all small little things, right? But they all add up. It's not just one thing that's going to be like, oh my goodness, you're just going to, take off so much more money. But when you combine all of these different practices together, yeah, you are going to shave off some money on your electricity per year, which is helpful, right? Especially when you want to save $1 in this economy.
Right. Now, onto like water conservation. So that's one thing that we need to look into as well. We need to do what we can to save money on our water bills. So the first thing that we should look at is if there are any leaks in our household. So small household leaks can add up to gallons of water lost every day. So one thing to do is to check plumbing fixtures and irrigation systems each year, especially in March during what is called a Fix a Leak Week. So there's like this thing on the U.S. government agency called EPA, Environmental Protection Agency. They have all these programs and everything to where you can better check if you are conserving your water to the utmost capability that you can. So, or the utmost ability that you can. So that's one thing to keep in mind. In the bathroom, where over half of all the water use inside a home takes place, turn off the tap water while shaving or brushing teeth. So don't leave the water running while you're brushing and shaving yourself.
I've been guilty of that, but I'm trying to get better.
Showers use less water than baths, as long as you keep an eye on how long you've been taking your shower. So basically, just if you're a person that likes to take baths a lot, just keep in mind that you're using a lot more water and spending more money compared to someone who's just taking showers. And also, they have this thing where you can calculate how much you can save by using water scents labeled products in the bathroom. And water scents is basically, it's like a thing that helps you basically keep track of your water usage. It helps you conserve a lot more. And if the government agency recommends it, then we should be probably using it.
So
Now,
it's water sense. What is it?
it's like a water sense label, so you'll see it on products in the bathroom. It's basically so that you can use this knowing that your water will be conserved. Basically,
and
it's
what
gonna help.
and what would be some example of some water sense things?
It would be like something like faucets, shower heads, toilets,
Drain.
urinals, sprinklers, irrigation controllers, stuff like that. Stuff dealing with water, that whatever water comes out of is something that a water sense label would be on. And you viewing that label would say, okay, this is going to help me save water, basically. So just keep in mind when you're shopping for certain materials, for when you're building a bathroom, or if you need to change something or replace something, keep that in mind. Now, to save in the kitchen, you can plug up the sink or use a wash basin if washing dishes by hand. So that's one thing that we can do, is instead of having running water, just fill up the sink with water and wash dishes. Some people like to run water while they're washing dishes, but that actually wastes water, and in turn will make you spend more money. Keep a pitcher of drinking water in the refrigerator instead of letting the faucet run until the water is cool. Thaw in the refrigerator overnight rather than using a running tap of hot water. So that takes preparation. So try to, I know sometimes people are kind of last minute and like to cook stuff, or they forget. Try to remember to put things in the fridge before the day you need to cook or whatever, instead of using hot water and trying to rush and cook stuff. So that way you save money on water as well. Add food wastes to your compost pile instead of using the garbage disposal, because the garbage disposal uses water and electricity to power that on and do its job. So it's better to try to put a compost together like we do, like we have, because we have a garden and we use our compost to provide nutrients to our garden, and we add vegetable peels or fruit peels and stuff like that.
Eggshells.
Eggshells, yep. Also, you want to sweep driveways, sidewalks, and steps rather than using a water hose to spray it off and clean it. That will save water. Wash the car with water from a bucket, or consider using a commercial car wash that recycles water. If you have a pool, use a cover to reduce evaporation when the pool's not being used.
And can we go through these a little bit slower? So you said wash the car with water from a bucket, or consider using a commercial car wash that recycles water. So I'm assuming it's saying if you're using your water hose to rinse off your car, it's better if you would use a bucket instead, because you'll probably save more water that way.
Yeah.
Get out your bucket and, do what you got to do. I'm assuming it would be the same thing if you were outside with your water in your garden as well. Instead of using a water hose, use your bucket. Now, it might be a lot more work because you got to go back and forth with that bucket. Thanks so much, guys, for listening to our tips for frugality on utilities. Just keep in mind, these were just the basic tips, guys. We didn't go into full-on detail. There are a lot more tips for utilities than that. Actually, we have it listed in our description. So if you guys want to see, there was a brochure that they had on our electric company's website with more detail of different things that you can look at, and it explains to you why you should be doing those things with your utilities. Check out the description, link in the description if you want to check that out. We also have a checklist, a DIY checklist that you can do, where you can go around your house and check off each one of those things to make sure that your house is energy efficient for utilities. We also have that from our electric company website. And so if you want to look at that, check that down in the description box. Keep in mind, all of you guys who are watching out there, your electric company might have the same exact thing. And so it would be awesome if you guys could go on your website for your company and see if they have checklists, see if someone will come out and do an evaluation. We know that it says that we can pay a base fee, which we're not going to do, for someone to come out and do an evaluation. But maybe you do want to pay a base fee for someone to come out and do an evaluation, or maybe on your company's electro company's website, they're saying that you can do it for free. So please, please, please check out those links in the description if you want further details. We hope this list was helpful for you guys. These are just some basic things that can definitely help out anyone with their utilities and bringing them down, and new things that we even learned ourselves in the making. So we hope you guys enjoyed this video.
So thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and see you on another episode of the Coals of Fire. See you next time. Bye, y'all.